I've been up since about 5 o'clock, but I like having a long set of time to be able to sit back and do whatever it is that I need to do. Having that 3 hour period of time where I can wake up, take care of the dog, do some of my basic chores around the house. If I need to do some cleaning, if I need to take some time and relax, if I need to catch up on a subject or anything else like that, make plans, whatever I need to do. Having that early morning is really, really good. But yeah, let's see. Do we have anybody? No, okay. Nobody said hi so far. But anyways, I want to say good morning. It has been another beautiful morning, and I'm enjoying. Uh, Good morning, Matthew. How are you? Okay, so I have a question for my replay audience and for you guys here in chat. What's up, Matthew? I ain't seen you in a while. Um, hmm. But anyways, um, uh, uh, there was a question I was watching because part of being in any type of doing anything, if you're going to make money at it, especially if it's skilled labor, which good morning, occult, which skilled labor is okay, what's up? Okay, so I've said hi to everybody. Skilled labor is requires continuous education because part of the skill is it's ever evolving. It is something that you learn past basic repetitive behavior, such as like factory work or working at McDonald's or doing customer service. Things that don't really require much skills at all, just your ability to be able to communicate with people. What's up, Beth? What's up, Chris? Um, and so like anything that you do. So I'm always doing continuous education, and that was part of what I did this morning. And one of the things that I learned, and I put it over on Patreon. So if you've got a membership over on Patreon, you'll be able to see the video. But it actually shows how YouTube is starting to it's censoring people, but it's blaming it on technology instead of realizing that each situation is different. So if you use certain words, certain keywords, words that you may not know because it's an ever-changing goalpost, then they will give you it's not suitable for ads and the little yellow dollar sign, which means you just got demonetized. Yesterday morning's video got demonetized as well. Not my long form, but my morning live stream. So this channel is pretty much supported by you guys and the little bit of ad revenue that I get. So your memberships over on Patreon and your memberships here on YouTube mean so much more, especially as and I don't even know what I'm saying. And they won't even tell you what you're saying that's causing it. They'll just say, "Hey, yeah, we decided this wasn't suitable for ads." Um, and it could be on a lot of different things. I don't know. Um, so those of you that sponsor me to make sure that I stay live, regardless of whether YouTube demonetizes me, is extremely important because that's what keeps me going. That's why I can afford what I have. The little bit of things I have is because of you within my community that are a big part of my community. Make sure that I'm at least able to have a roof over my head at an inexpensive price. I mean, $160 a month, who can get rent that cheap? Okay, so I keep my expenses low. I keep it under. Samantha, knock it off. She's barking at the cows. Samantha Marie, knock it off. I don't want a barking dog. Yeah, so she's only allowed to bark when she needs to alert, but every time she sees one of the cows, she likes to bark. But anyways, um just the little bit that I live off of, it's and I'm able to keep going because I can live on a shoestring budget. That's the real that's the real success story here. If you really want to hear my success story, it's I can live off of less than somebody gets on Social Security and still live and have some of the basic comforts of life. Yes, I have people that are helping me out. For example, my old man, since I went through my divorce 15 years ago, him, yeah, he's always he's been taking care of my phone bill. So therefore, that saves me $60 to $100 a month that I could have never afforded. It would have never allowed me to get onto YouTube. And then, with Stephanie becoming a member of the community and things like that, now she's a sponsor. She, we'll be talking about her more tomorrow evening, because it's gonna take a little bit of figuring out. But one of the things is I got to figure out how to, because once a week we're gonna be doing a shout out. She's gonna be sponsoring a video, and she really likes what goes on Friday with the old man. So therefore, we kind of have that as our slot, and so now I've got to figure out just the wording and kind of how to get a routine going of because Friday evening is Stephanie is sponsoring that. So therefore, that video, that live stream basically pays for pays for my whole month by doing those, plus the other things that I have for pays for my whole month to be able to be able to make my property payment. So therefore, I'm not completely dependent on AdSense right now. If YouTube were to deplatform me, or not deplatform me, but completely demonetize me, having what I have with the sponsorship, and having what I have with Patreon is going to be what really what really helps me keep going, even if YouTube decides, well, I don't like what you're saying, because like I said, the goalpost is constantly moving. And if you've watched the first 3 videos of what I talked about this week, Monday, Tuesday, and well, I put out 2 on Tuesday, but it's supposed to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I've got 4 and 5 already completed. I just haven't recorded them yet. But the thing is that, like, as you guys, things like that, I'm trying to share with you that there's no such thing as real information. You can't really be as open as you would like to and say certain things, because any certain words that you use, even if it's common, and if it's even if it's just uh, and maybe if anything at all is implied about YouTube. No, 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 because people no, because that's what content that uh, every time you talk about YouTube, it gives them what's it called? It helps expand the brand. So the fact that people are talking about their platform on their platform is incentive. So no, it's the I think what may have happened is I use the alternative word to the thing that yeah. Um, yeah, I think that may have been what did it, because that's probably what flagged it, but I was using it in proper context. And, that's the thing is, even if you're using it in proper context, even if you're discussing it, because they don't want that word on there whatsoever. Because the thing is if the narrative is that the WHO is the end all be all authority, and then somebody at the New York Health Department says something that contradicts the WHO, they're going to they're going to give you a strike. They're going to delete your video, and then you have to go to digital re-education to find out that the ultimate supreme authority is the WHO. Anything that contradicts it is considered misinformation. So therefore, the WHO is setting policy. A foreign organization is deciding what is true and what is not, and it's not up to the people to decide. Your ability to discern truth from not truth is really where this is all going. This is so subtle you don't even realize it. Now, as a content creator, one of the things that I've heard on the back end is that you guys you guys are learning so much about what YouTube is really like, because I share not only kind of like my analytics and stuff like that, but I share the overall, like, what really goes on behind the scenes, why I can't say what I want to say, why sometimes I struggle. Because the thing is if you put that word out there, so if I say the New York Health Department says this, now all of a sudden that's going to allow you to question the narrative. And then if you're allowed to question the narrative, or hear something that might spark interest to where you might want to go research it deeper, therefore their narrative falls apart, is the reason why they don't want you to hear these specific words. also, you know, they hide behind it's not suitable for advertisers, and there's some stuff that's not suitable for advertisers. I get it, because you know, if you get tied to politics and you're on the wrong side at the wrong time, it could be detrimental to your business. That part I get. But when you're just talking about day-to-day things and you're just talking about life and stuff like that, and they're not taking it on a case by case, but they're just doing a blanket statement to where they're basically wiping out. If you guys have read Fahrenheit 451 and you hear how they described how the woke mob essentially deleted any offensive word, and so therefore all you got was the filler words, the ands, ums, and just a few. It was very dumbed down to like a second grade level. This is what's happening to us on a very slow, on a very slow uh, 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 trajectory. Okay, and this is why, like, the copyright strikes, the community strikes, and then the way that you get out of it is you go and you take a digital re-education camp, and you're going to watch a few videos, and it's going to tell you why you're wrong and why this is misinformation, and if you want to be compliant with our guidelines, this is the points of authority that you use, and if you use any other point of authority, you will get a strike. Now that we've made sure that you understand the rules, now go have fun and be careful. So, Fahrenheit 451. Mm. It was called Fahrenheit 451, which is the 451 is the temperature at which paper burns. Uh, yeah. So, YouTube hates prepping content. Well, the YouTube hates prepping content, smoke and swamp outdoors, because the Department of Homeland Security has marked preppers as dissidents and potential threats if something goes down. And so, therefore, in order to keep the threat level down and to keep us pacified and docile and to be able to control the narrative, therefore, they've got to kind of they're saying we're not shadow banning you. We're just it's just not a really relevant topic, because and so that's why you don't get the impressions. It's because your impressions come from how relevant your topic is. So yesterday, I should if I was getting the push that I should be getting, I should have probably about 10 to 15,000 impressions, because with the long form video that I put out, I've barely gotten 1,500 impressions. And so the thing is what they're telling you is the reason why your stuff isn't going out isn't because we're shadow banning you. This is a figment of your imagination. This is you not taking responsibility. Well, if you know for a fact that something like this is is a very clickbaity title. This is what survival looks like. That's very clickbaity. Even though it's ethical, and I'm delivering on what I'm saying, you still kind of have to have something that moves a person to a point where they're willing to click. And then also the thumbnail, I put a lot of time and effort into it. As you see, I got a picture of my trailer in there and all that. That took some time. Um, and it's it, that should be getting at least, it should have 5 to 10,000 impressions, and it's not getting there because they're saying, "Oh, the topic isn't relevant." Bull pucky. Okay? I completely disagree with you on that. You know, that is a very relevant topic. There's at least um 2 to 3 million people that are researching this in a month. And so a 5,000 view or 10,000 view video on something, even my retention is almost at 50%, which is pretty high. For because when you free form, people only tune in for so long and then they tune out after a while because you start to ramble. And so I've had to learn to stop rambling. but this is like the overall battle, that if you want to do anything that's relevant and that will make an impact on somebody's life, that is outside of the mainstream of, get rich, have your own private jet, your own private island, and a bunch of girls in bikinis alongside a pool while you're sipping mai tais and getting free money that you never had to really work for. I mean, that's the narrative that they want to push. They don't want to push, you got to go out and work hard. They don't want to push that, hey, success looks different for every person. I mean, and sometimes it's not big successes, it's little successes. Going from being on trail to being able to have a property for $160 a month. That is something that is, it's a small win, but it's a big win, because now I have a place where I can rest and I don't have to keep being on the move. Because if you are going to be outside, especially with as hostile as it's getting right now, if you don't stay on the move, you are going to end up in a camp or in jail. Okay. And they are going to consider that if you're homeless, that you either have a drug problem or a mental health problem. And then you're going to have to prove your innocence on that as well. Okay. So, and this is how they're stripping you of your Second Amendment rights to begin with. Like I said, I have no problem with people, enforcing their Second Amendment right. No problem whatsoever. But it's a personal choice. And the thing is as long as you're safe, ethical, and responsible about what you're doing, great. But we have been so basically we allowed the broken part of our genetic um of our genetic pool. We've allowed the shallow end of the genetic pool to overproduce the deep end of the genetic pool, therefore creating a mass society where, I mean, we've just got people that run off on emotions and they think it's perfectly normal, because that's how we've geared society. Because feelings, or excuse me, facts are subjective and feelings are true facts, which feelings are not facts. That's why I have my cup, which I don't have out with me this morning. Okay. This is something that a, a, as a society, this is where we've gone. And this is why now, because of the craziness and the inability to teach proper handling and use out in the country, you're going to have more responsible people, but you're going to have, every once in a while, you're going to have one of those people that just no, not going to work. um mm, I've been up for 3 hours. It's not too early for Coke. Yes, I love my Coke. Um, yeah, you should have seen the faces I was making on trail. People would come out. They'd be like, "You want some water?" I said, "I'd take that or a cold Coke." They bring me a bottle of water and a cold Coke, and I just sit there and like drink it like I was fucking drinking, I don't know, drinking chocolate milk or something. So I'm going to subscribe to one of Tuck's other channels too. Watch his old videos for shits and giggles. How about how's the homesteading coming, Tuck? It's coming. I've got to this week. I don't. I've got to dig me a burn hole so that I can so that I can burn my trash. I've got to do it. Uh, and it's yeah, I've just got to make sure that I do it in a safe place. But I got to build that this week. That's one of the things that's top of my priority. Um, I can't go get dirt until the 21st, so the end of the month, and we've already got it. We were supposed to have a freeze coming through, but apparently the weather has changed, and instead of being in the 30s, it's like 34, 33. It's gonna be in the 40s, which will be a little bit nicer. So the weather outlook changed overnight. Yeah, we got rain all the way into last night. It was nice though. I like the fact that it's raining this much, although it's a little bit of an inconvenience, with the tarp. I still like it. Okay. Okay. I'm also very interested in Tuck's plans to improve his property. Well, keep following Matthew, because as you see, like yesterday, I asked you guys, and we had a big old talk. So if you're here for the live streams, you kind of get to follow the progression. But for those of you that aren't fully aware, we had a talk a couple days ago where I said, hey, I'm trying to build a proper audience, and I want your input. And so the input was is that is that basically, even though the scenery changed, my style of content needed to stay the same. So now I'm gonna have more time instead of worrying about creating polished content. Now I'm gonna have more time to get stuff done around here while I'm raising money for some of these projects. But because of Stephanie's sponsorship, that frees up money every month so that I can put it into the property, which now gives me projects and content to be able to create for you guys. So expect things to kind of improve over time. So glad you were happy about the rain. Yes. Okay. Are you on Patreon yet? Okay. Do you have any garden tools like rake and shovel? I have a shovel, and I have a rake. I have a pickaxe. I got a couple of screwdrivers and a multi-tool, and some pliers, more like wire cutters though. But I use it's the only way I can get my thing on my propane on is use that, but I got to be very careful about how I do it. But yeah, did I? No, I did not. Okay, good. All right. So let's see here. Tuck, do you know any who has a tractor in your area help you dig and clear rocks? No, see, this is the joy of having my own property. Yeah, I could do all that stuff. And but I need, like I was telling my neighbor, because he was like, well, yeah, if you want to come over and help. I says, dude, I have to exert myself so much every day. Otherwise, I want to come out of my skin because I have that much adrenaline. Even though I'm getting older, it means that I can work and I don't have to work as much as I did when I was younger to be able to burn off all this adrenaline and the energy that comes from it. And so for me, going and doing things like that and having that work, that is part of my not. It's not even mental stability. It's more about my physical health at that point in time. Um, and for so long, they kept telling me it was my mental stability that was the problem when it wasn't. It was a physical problem. And so now that I've gotten that figured out, and I know how to manage it now without medication, because there's really no medication they can give me, nor that I would be willing to take, that I would deal with this with. Because there's this. Oh, they gave it to me. They gave it to me a long time ago when I was in Chattanooga. Um, I forget what the name. Not. I don't know. I can't remember the name. Putting Sam to task. Yeah. Could Sam dig that fire pit? I might give her an opportunity, because then it'll also wear down her uh, uh, whatchamacallit, it'll wear down her claws, because I don't want to clip them. When we were on trail, because of all the walking we did, she got to do. I never had to clip her nails, and I don't want to clip her nails. I want to do it naturally. I just got to get her now that the weather's, it's like it almost feels like it's like constant winter. I mean, since I've been here, the weather gets good for a minute and then it goes back down, and then it gets good and then it goes back down. So it's kind of like an ebb and flow. And I know it's going to take me a year to figure out a routine of like how to get in and out and get things done, because as I get held back more and more from the projects that I'm doing, I start getting more and more like, dude, I just got to get it done. I don't care. It can be freezing cold. I'll just go in and out a little bit. So once I get to that point, then I will kind of figure out a good working routine. I've kind of gotten to that point a couple of times where I was starting to get cabin fever, but sweet. Okay. So, oh, cool. Minimal toolbox. There is a video right there. Yeah. Um, uh, but I want to be able to do this myself. But anyways, I have a question for you guys. Okay. For those of you that are still here, I have a question for you. The, uh, uh, so as I was doing my continuous education, yeah, I learned about that part. But the second part that I learned about was the guy that's behind Gary V, which, man, Gary V is a powerhouse. He's a giant media company. And then you've also got Alex Hormozy, who is a giant media company. And this is the guy behind him. And he talks about how he built Gary V and Alex Hormozy. I mean, he did like a 10x growth on him in just a short period of time, like 6 months. And so what this guy has to say is very, very important. And one of the things he says is, "What are you known for?" So that's what my question is to you guys. What am I known for? Even for the replay crew, I'd really like to know, if you make it this far, what am I known for? Um, because like when you if you were to sum me up in one word, what would you, or a sentence, what would you say? Um, like, because that's really the reputation, and if I don't understand what my reputation is, then it's harder for me to build around that. To Because I don't know, there's so many things that are just normal to me, that are normal to me, that to everybody else is like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you're doing that." It's normal. What are you talking about? So, um, it's 6,500, or 64 and some change, actually. Sweet. Okay. Uh, are there pine forests nearby? Yeah, if you go into Shello. Yeah, once you get to lower elevations, we're at an elevation where pines can grow, but you got to plant them. There's not a lot of water that comes through here, so junipers grow pretty quick, things like that. Resilience. Okay. Tuck documents personal journey. Okay. Overcomer. Okay. Like one word, TJ. Okay. So it's survival, it's resilience, and to be able, and probably what really drives it home is, so one of the things that I was told before I even started my journey. So my stepmom's side of the family, like, out of all the family that I have, her side of the family is the only one I really like. Out of all the family, and it's not even it's not even by blood, it's by marriage. But her brother and his daughter, they kind of had a talk with me, because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go on my journey, I'm gonna document my trail, stuff like that. And one of the things they said is, on YouTube, everything is glamour, and we got tired of the glamour. And so with the glamour, it gives a false impression. We want to know the good and the bad. Show us everything, don't hold back. And so I use that method going forward. I thought that by getting a piece of land and kind of trying to step up, that having more polished videos, but I'd already set the tone for the previous 2 years, that trying to change that tone was like asking an aircraft carrier to turn on a dime. It just wasn't going to work. And so therefore, that is the important lesson that I have learned, is that no matter what I transition to, because you guys are following along with my life, it's about survival, it's about resilience, it's about reality checks, essentially, because you get to see the good and the bad. You get to hear when I have my bad days and when I have my good days. And even though I don't like showing my ass in public, it's part of it's part of what makes this channel. And although I tried to polish myself and get away from it, and I probably could have, and I would probably do much better in YouTube if I polished myself up that way, but I would also be selling my soul out, because with YouTube and its algorithms and its restrictions, I would never be able to really talk about the things that I think are important, that matter to me and matters to other people as well, and to be able to have that conversation. So, okay, I would call it drifting nomad, navigating a sick world with a sharp mind. That's a pretty good that's a pretty good sentence there, Matthew. Humble, understanding, and encouraging. Okay, drowning, drawing people in and showing them your real life opinions and life experiences. Okay, okay. Um, the good, the bad, and the beautiful. Me being a creator myself, the main thing is to just be you. Yes, but most creators are not themselves. Look at Think Media. Look at Alex Hormozy. Look at all these people. They're not themselves. They wouldn't talk to you like that in public. They would have a completely different tone, demeanor, and discussion with you. What they're doing is a polished channel that has a financial gain to make. So therefore, when you do that, you have to appeal to the masses instead of appealing to the few. And we live in a society where the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And what this channel is an inversion of that. The needs of the few are just as important as the needs of the many. Okay. And I think that that's really kind of a good way to summarize it. What do you guys think? What's up, farmer? Me being, okay. All right. Okay. Live long and prosper. Yes, like that, right? If you become completely you and then you become YouTube star, you're golden. I don't, my goal has never been to be a YouTube star. What is the dream that I have? Why did I start this? I started this in the beginning because I have a passion for sharing knowledge and teaching people what I know. That is my number one passion. That's why I like history. That's why I like, just being able to look at the world and understand it, because I've spent so much of my life trying to understand the world around me for what it is and to see the true reality versus the illusion that's put up around us. And I want to share that. I want to, I want to, that is my passion. That is what first drove me to want to build a YouTube channel to begin with. Okay. And then, um, as it goes along, because I became a voice within the homeless community, and I still want to maintain that voice. That's very important to me because those are my roots. That knowledge, that training, that experience is what gave me the survival tools and instincts that I have today. So many people look at homelessness as a what's a good word at it? So many people look at homelessness like it's a bad thing. Okay, it's not a bad thing. They treat it like the caste system, like that's your social status, and as a homeless person, and this social status, this is what the pigeonhole that society has put you in. But that's not necessarily true. Society's been groomed in the same way that they were groomed to turn out any word that when you use the word conspiracy theory. Uh, the same thing is happening with so many other things in our society, from business to the homeless. And and so therefore, you're looked at as like, oh, he's a nasty homeless person. No, 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 no. Being homeless, your status means nothing. Your status doesn't define you. Who you are as a human being defines you. So if you've got an addict's mentality, then it has nothing to do with you being homeless. That just happens to be where you're at because that's where your addiction took you. Does that mean that all people there are there for that reason? No. Does that mean that all people are there for that uh, for mental health? No. Okay. Like, I was misdiagnosed for 20 plus years, almost 25 years. So only about 2 years ago did I actually get a proper diagnosis of what was wrong with me. And that's the messed up part of all of this. Is that for so many years they kept putting pills and all kinds of stuff telling me, oh yeah, you got mental health. No, I don't. No, I don't. PTSD, yes, it is a mental health issue, but it's a trauma related issue. It's not a chemical imbalance. It's not a behavior issue. It's a trauma related response. Therefore, that doesn't PTSD doesn't make people homeless. There are many soldiers that come home from battle. That coupled with the adrenal issue that I have, yeah, that's one thing. Uh, but that's not a mental health issue. That's a physical issue. Just like somebody who has, like multiple sclerosis or something like that. But for me, essentially my adrenal gland leaks, and therefore I have a constant drip of adrenaline constantly going through. And if I don't work it out in my system, then I get angst, and I have a whole bunch of other issues that lead to sleep deprivation, that lead to anxiety, that lead to depression, that lead to adrenal rushes and things like that. So there's not a pill in the world that can help me. It's a change of lifestyle and a change of a change of character in so many ways. Okay. So as I become the voice of the homeless community in so many ways, not only to show how to survive, but how to get out of homelessness, because I was homeless and now I'm not. I have a piece of land, and once everything is grand and golden, and I have no more debt obligations. I can live here completely debt free, and if I make $100, that buys my water. something along those lines. This is the lifestyle I'm building because I've tried for so long to never be homeless again. So how do I build it to where I never be homeless again? So many people are putting notes on, realizing that, and then buying and selling and buying and selling, that they never stay anywhere long enough to be able to really pay it off, because the true value of a house is not the value at which you bought it at, not the price. The true value of a house is once it's paid off, you don't have all you have to pay is your utility. So if you want electricity, if you want water, and then therefore that opens up your pocketbook to be able to have a better life. So therefore you're not spending 75% of your income like the average person is right now on your rent. You don't have to, because you paid off your mortgage and you paid it off quick. And that's really the value of home ownership. But you've been convinced that you need to buy, sell, get the biggest, baddest house, have the highest value, but you never truly own it. And you've been happy the whole time. Get a mule. I might, farmer. Why do you have no cowboy hat? I don't know. One of y'all want to send me one? Bam, truth. Okay. Mind, body, must work collaborate. Okay. I heard a saying one time, serve the masses, live with the classes, serve the classes, um, serve the classes, live with the masses. Um, okay. That is, Mitch. That will take me a moment to ponder. That's a very dense statement. I like it, but it'll take me a moment to ponder. Um, okay, this is why people watch a person actually stepping through the hoops. Yeah. Yeah, well, I didn't realize why people were watching. And I have, you got to see my frustration unfold, because I thought I knew my audience and then I realized I didn't. And now I'm finally understanding my audience. So now I can go back to growing. This is like, I've actually been in what you could probably call a stagflation as far as my channel. I have been going between 89.40 and 89.60, because I would get all the way up to 60 and then I drop down to 40. Just as my audience was rolling over, as I was doing this back and forth and all over the place. So now that I can get back to being something a little bit more consistent, I think that will stop, and I've already started to see it with the things that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. But I'm kind of in that free fall has stopped, and I think that I might be on the way back up again. But a lot of it was I had to figure out myself, and so those of you that have stuck around through it got to see an important part of my journey. Something that most people don't talk about is just the how they had to go through all those changes. And instead of like doing it in a 10-minute video, you got to see it unfold over a course of months. As I felt the pressure of everything rumbling around, to finally getting a relief in that pressure, and to kind of step up and spread my wings and do what I know how to do best. Because I had success, I just didn't understand what made me successful. Okay. Yes, yep, isolate myself here at least for as long as I can. Humans can be difficult. Chris, don't delete your comment. I'm so sorry you're having struggles. I want to send you a sombrero. It offers much more. Okay. It's P.O. Box 212, Concho, Arizona, 85924. You can address it to Friar Tuck. Yeah, I gotta pay for my mailbox. By the end of the month, which I gotta do. Nice. All right. Humans, yeah, humans can be difficult. Yeah, Chris, man, we're all here for you. I know. Here's the thing, though. I will say, because I understand, like, when you guys, sometimes I get people that will send me their struggles, and I appreciate it, especially that they're opening up to me, and they need somebody to hear them, and I hear them. That is kind of what my subtle role has been for the last 2 years, since I've really moved in this direction. And so that right there is I've had people say things like that. Um, and my heart goes out to you. But also at the same time, I don't know, it's not that I don't know how to deal with it, it's just that I can't allow myself to get too emotionally tied. There was a reason why I started talking about doing the mental thing, but then I stepped back because after going through my own process, I realized, like, if I were on the other side of that, I don't think I have the capacity just with everything that I've experienced. It would probably be more destructive to me than not. So those of you, if you ever think that I'm ignoring your problem, no, I hear you. I see it. And I talk about it a little bit because, especially when I start getting multiple messages across from multiple people telling me that similar things are going on with them, because it helps me highlight your pain so that the masses understand that that it's not that there are people out there that are struggling. The mainstream media that tells you that we're in a boom and everything's great, depending upon who's in power and da 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 da. And the reality on the ground is what people are feeling. And so, in being able to, um, uh, you're good, Chris. You're always good, man. You never have to worry about it. Like I said, as long as it's never personal and you don't attack, just don't make it personal. That's all I got to say. Because when you make it personal, that's kind of when it's like, you know what? And as much as crap as I deal with, especially in the comments, um, not as much lately, but I was getting a lot of negative comments, especially doing the homeless crowd. It just people yeah, it is what it is. Tuck strikes me as a 59, uh, extra large. No, well, I don't know. I don't think I have that big of a head. Um, couldn't I think it's something, I don't know, maybe a 40 something. Um, I don't know, don't make it too big. I mean, I do have somewhat of a big head, but not this big a head, so brain space. Could have guessed. uh, yeah, but I don't know. And the thing is when you accomplish things and you're able to overcome so much, it gives you a vote of confidence. And some people think that confidence is arrogance. It's like, no, I've been through it. I know what I'm talking about. And I have a complete authority to talk about it. Because I've had people, they're like, you're arrogant. It's like, no, I lived it. I know what I'm talking about. So yeah, when you try and tell me something different, I'm going to be like, no, I lived it. I overcame it. And I know exactly the ins and outs of what was going on. Looks to me like someone wants to donate a hat. So measure that noggin. I will find somebody to measure me a noggin. You know, I don't know how to do that without a tape measure, and that's one thing. I might have a tape measure around here somewhere. I'll look. Okay, so let's see, brain space. Okay, looks to me, yeah. So, a string and a ruler. Well, the string's the easy part, the ruler's the hard part. Um, I guess that's the real reality of it. Well, there's visual measuring tools where I can just hold it up and kind of measure it that way. I might be able to do that. Let me see if I can use technology to my benefit so that I don't have to own a tape measure and I can still be happy. You notice how we've been owning nothing and been happy the whole time. They just said the quiet part out loud after it already been implemented. You realize that, right? So all these people go, no, 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 no. They don't tell you until after it's finally reached its final phase. Uh, Yeah, there's an app for pretty much anything you want. You don't have to have, unless you need hard tools like a hammer, nails, stuff like that. Anything else like that requires just like yeah, you can use technology for. That's the cool thing about being in this age. But so many people are leaning on it, using it much more than they should, and um, it's there to be a tool. It's not there to do your job for you. And one thing I learned when I was in school, like I was in college. I don't even know if I should call it college. It's more of a technical school or trade school. Um, but anyways, while I was in school, uh, uh, what my federal work study was tutoring 3rd through 4th graders, and there was always this one girl that always came up and asked for help, and da da da, da. And she managed to get me to do her work for her by going, "Oh, I don't know, I don't know." Well, imagine AI not having those guardrails on there, because I got pulled aside and said, "Look, she does this to everybody. Don't let her do this. Make her do it herself. She's trying not to." And the thing was, is the girl was dyslexic, and that was her big problem. It wasn't that she wasn't smart; she was just dyslexic. Um, and so she, but the thing is the only way that she could get her work done is to convince somebody else to do it for her. And that is the way the average worker is, because their life isn't about work. Their life is about exploring, experiencing, enjoying life, things like that. Whether it be, going out and hiking trails, or riding a bike around the neighborhood and going on like little excursions, or whatever it may be. People will always want to be productive, but the things that they want to do versus the things that they have to do is totally different. And work is, for most people, something they have to do, not what they want to do. I'm one of those people. It's what I want to do, not what I have to do. If I've got free time, I'm happy working or learning. Those are my two favorite things to do. Mm. Um, Homeowners always get super pissed off when I tell them that they don't own their home. How do you own it if you have to pay the government every year to keep it? They're just glorified renters. Um, I agree with you, Adam, on that one. I completely agree with you on that. Yeah, because once you have it, because the thing is until you have title, and the thing is that the bank holds on to title, just like Stephanie holds on to title. That's her right. 90. So they say possession is 9/10 of the law. Yeah, possession is 9/10 of the law. But the most important part of the law is the 10%. And what is that 10%? That 10% is title. So whoever holds title owns it. Okay. And if you want to go back to like the goods that you buy, look at a car. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you could request from, like, you could get a car imported and you could get the certificate of origin. If you had the certificate of origin, it was no longer US property, and therefore they couldn't regulate it. So now what they require to have happen is every vehicle that comes in, the certificate of origin gets shipped to the government, because the government owns it, not you. And so therefore you go and you buy the car, you may get title, but that title is a certified copy that, yeah, you've paid it off, but the real title is the certificate of origin. Just like with your birth certificate, your certificate of live birth is your manifest. You go and you exchange that for a for a uh, a birth certificate. Okay, because there's lots of lectures on that if you want to really understand that. But this is this is just some of the stuff that goes on. I'll leave that alone, because I don't want to. I'm getting demonetized a little bit more often than I'd like, and I don't want it to become a regular habit. We now, for those of you that are here, the key may be to not get hung up on ownership, but use. No, because the thing is whoever has title can tell you what to do. That's why until this property is half paid off, I still have to go through Stephanie to ask her permission to build on it, because she holds title and she is the one that gets to dictate the rules on it. Now, by rights of possession, I can come out here and stay on the land at my own risk. But if anything jeopardizes her position on title, therefore she's going to invoke her rights of title and boot you off the land. Okay, that's the that like, as a seller, these are the guarantees you need to make sure until it's paid off, then you get title. Okay, and yeah, and there's a lot of other things, but no, you want to own certain things. You want to own your land. Now, paying taxes on it, um, paying property tax, I don't see a problem with it, because it's supposedly supposed to go to support your local community. But what really happens is that the state takes it and divvies it up, and spreads it around the counties. Now, sometimes for some counties that might benefit them, but for other counties, they're taking all the rural money too, to be able to take over the big company or the big city while leaving the small counties kind of screwed. And so honestly, I think that if you're in a county, I think 100% of the taxes should go into the county, not the state. Okay, the county should be responsible for contracting with the state to be able to get services, but the property taxes should not be going to the state. That's my opinion, because it's meant to support your local community. Sales tax, that goes to the state. Property tax, that's supposed to go to the county and to the city. Tuck, send me my hate size to my email. My email is shown on my YouTube channel. I will I will do that. You can also send me an email, friartuck@hobotuck.com. I think you've sent me an email once before, US. I'll have to go and search through my archive, but I think you've sent me an email before. Yeah. So I know. Okay. So we're getting up to a point of that hour. So in order to make sure that I don't spend too long on live stream and burn myself out, just like energy wise, I've got to I've got to limit these no longer than an hour and a half if it's going really good, really long, like and stuff like that. But an hour is kind of where I'm trying to cap it at. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, we want more. It's like, yeah, I understand it, but I'm doing 2 live streams a day. And then I also putting up a long form video a day, plus probably shorts, plus doing back office stuff. I mean, I got to have energy for other things, and I got to have time for other things. I think an hour is good. I hope you guys are okay with it. Okay, size. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm gonna give you this is like the 3-minute warning. Okay, so you guys if you guys have any final things you want to say, anything else like that, go ahead, go for it. I'm gonna, as soon as I'm done here, I'm gonna message my neighbor and go over and do some work with him. It'd be nice just to be able to have it's more for me, it's more about social interaction and being a part of the community, because he helps me, it's my turn to go help him. And so therefore I'm completely okay with you this is like, I ran into a farmer once on a Greyhound bus, and he says, in a farming community, if one of the if a farmer or rancher goes down, which they've had happen, the rest of the community comes together and helps him manage his livestock, or helps him out if he's in, because the community, everybody helps everybody, because when one rancher goes down, they all go down. So therefore, they realize that they have a strong community. And so out here, I'm trying to take that same methodology. Tuck a few rocks and make friends. Yeah, I will, Mitch. Have a good day, Tuck. You too. Almost an hour is great, Tuck. Yeah. All right. That's good. All right. But that's an important lesson that I learned throughout throughout time, is that community is more important than anything, because when the whole world breaks down, all you've got left is community and reputation. And if you don't covet those 2 things as the most valuable things that you have, it doesn't matter if you're in a big city, a small city, a rural area, off grid, doesn't matter where you're at. If you don't covet those 2 things, community and reputation, um, you won't be able to survive what's coming, because in order to weather any storm, those are the 2 most important things for you to have. So until next time, rebels, thanks for being here. I'll see you guys this evening.